More than 70 people, including children, are severely ill after a chemical attack in Aleppo. Syrian activists say the regime dropped chlorine gas on rebel-held parts of the city. Syrian civil defense officials say at least 4 chlorine cylinders were used. The victims were taken to hospital and treated for breathing difficulties. Well, it's not the first time the regime has been accused of staging chemical attacks. An investigation by the Independent Commission of Inquiry on Syria has been looking into past attacks. A member of the commission says it's found strong evidence that chemical gas has been used as a weapon of war.
We've received reliable information concerning the use of chlorine gas in Sheikh Maksud neighborhood of Aleppo city, particularly at the beginning of April on the 5th, with various people being taken to hospital for chlorine gas inhalation symptoms. We are also now investigating new allegations of chemical weapons use, particularly pertaining to August incident.
Let's go straight to Duncan Crawford, who is live in Gaziantep. Duncan, what more can you tell us about this chemical attack, and do we know for sure who carried it out?
We don't know for 100% sure, but certainly activists on the ground are blaming the Syrian regime. It was targeting a rebel-held area of Aleppo, and we have seen these kinds of attacks using chemical weapons or suspected chemical weapons, which had been blamed on the regime before. So it happened yesterday. It happened in the Sakari neighborhood of eastern Aleppo, and the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which is a UK-based monitoring group, say at least 70 people were affected, that a helicopter or helicopters dropped 4 barrel bombs, possibly containing what is suspected to be chlorine, and you can see from the videos which have come in from the hospitals where people are being treated. There are people suffering from breathing problems, they are being given oxygen, they're having water poured over them to try to relieve them of the symptoms of what would look like to be the symptoms from a chlorine gas style attack. And we have seen these accusations before in other parts of Syria. This independent investigative panel set up by the UN Security Council issued a report last month accusing the Syrian government of carrying out chemical weapons attacks once in 2014 and once in 2015, but the Syrian regime didn't acknowledge it. It disagreed, saying that it didn't carry out those attacks. And the Russians, who obviously are an ally of Bashar al-Assad, have said there were serious questions over the quality of that report.
Now, Duncan, the battle for Aleppo is obviously a crucial one for all the different parties involved. What is the latest in terms of this battle, in terms of who has the upper hand for now?
Well, I was speaking to a Syrian activist here yesterday from Aleppo who'd been speaking to his contacts there, saying that opposition forces in eastern Aleppo are now fighting in the south of the city, trying to break out there. But what's happened in the last 48 hours or so is that once again, rebels in the east of Aleppo have been encircled by the Syrian regime. If I take you back to last July, they had been surrounded then. They were in a desperate situation, 250,000 people with very little food or water, almost no electricity for most of the time. And also, of course, the rebels fighting there couldn't get extra supplies in terms of ammunition and so on. Then last month, they managed to break through regime-held areas, to open a corridor open again to the outside world, to try and get some supplies in. But 48 hours ago, the Syrian regime managed to encircle the whole of Aleppo again, so they are once again cut off.
OK, Duncan, many thanks for that. Duncan Crawford there for us in Gaziantep.